I'm 78 years old, and 2 years ago I went to my sister's funeral. We hadn't spoken in 25 years because I was right and she was wrong, and I had my pride. And now she's gone. And you know what I have to show for being right all those years? Nothing. Less than nothing. I have a hole in my life that will never be filled, and a box of regrets I'll carry to my own grave.
The worst part? I can't even remember what we were fighting about. Not the details, not the specifics. I remember that I was furious. I remember that she owed me an apology. But the actual thing that started it all? Gone. And here's what nobody tells you about grudges. They don't preserve anything except your own bitterness. They don't protect you. They poison you. And by the time you realize what you've lost, it's too late to get it back. I'm making this video because I see people everywhere holding on to anger like it's treasure. Like being right is worth more than being happy. Like pride is something to preserve instead of something that's slowly killing you. And I need you to know what it costs, because I paid the full price and I can't get a refund. Let me tell you what happened. 2 years ago, I got a phone call from my niece, my sister's daughter. I almost didn't answer because I didn't recognize the number. She said, "Aunt Margaret, Mom died this morning." Not, "Mom's sick." Not, "You should come visit." Just, "Mom died this morning. Lung cancer, 4 months from diagnosis to gone. And nobody told me because we weren't speaking. And nobody told me she was sick because, well, why would they?" I stood in my kitchen with the phone in my hand, and all I could think was, I should have called. I should have called yesterday. I should have called 10 years ago. I should have called 24 years ago. But I didn't, because she hadn't apologized, because I was right, because I had my pride. At the funeral, I sat in the back. I didn't know half the people there. My sister had made new friends, had a whole life I knew nothing about. My niece was kind enough to let me come, even though I'd been absent from their lives for a quarter century. During the service, people got up and talked about Helen, about how generous she was, how she volunteered at the food bank every Tuesday, how she never missed her grandkids' soccer games, how she'd send birthday cards with handwritten notes inside. I sat there listening to stories about my sister, and I realized I didn't know this woman. I knew the girl she'd been 25 years ago, but the woman she became, complete stranger. After the service, my niece handed me an envelope. She said, "Mom asked me to give this to you if she died before you two talked." I opened it in my car. Couldn't even wait to get home. It was a letter, dated 6 months before she died, before the diagnosis. Just a regular Tuesday when she sat down and wrote it, probably thinking I'd never see it. It said, "Margaret, I don't remember why we stopped talking. I remember we fought. I remember I hurt you somehow. I remember you hurt me somehow. But I can't remember the details, and honestly, I don't care anymore. I just miss my sister. I miss calling you when something funny happens. I miss our Sunday phone calls. I miss having someone who remembers Dad's terrible jokes and Mom's meatloaf recipe. I miss you, and I'm sorry for whatever I did. I'm sorry I stopped trying to reach out. I should have tried harder. I love you, Helen." I sat in that parking lot and cried harder than I'd cried in 25 years. She'd apologized, the thing I'd been waiting for all those years. She'd given it to me, just not in time for it to matter. Let me tell you the biggest lie I told myself for 25 years. She should apologize first. She started it. Some things are unforgivable. I have my pride. I can't just let her off the hook. You know what? That's not strength. That's not having standards. That's not protecting yourself. That's fear and stubbornness dressed up as principles. I see people, young and old, and they're all keeping score. When they apologize, then I'll forgive them. When they acknowledge what they did, then we can talk. When they reach out, then I'll consider responding. When they prove they've changed, then I'll let them back in. Let me save you 25 years of loneliness with one simple truth. Nobody wins when you wait for the other person to move first. You know why? Because you both end up waiting. You both end up digging in. You both end up so invested in being right that you forget what you were even fighting about. And before you know it, years have passed, decades, and the person you're mad at is gone, and you never got to tell them you loved them. The fight started at Thanksgiving, 1998. I was 53, Helen was 51. I don't remember what was said. I know it had something to do with, our mothers. Jewelry. She died the year before, and we were sorting through her things. I wanted something. Helen wanted the same thing. Or maybe I felt like she'd already taken too much. Or maybe she thought I was being greedy. The details are gone. But I remember the feeling, hot anger in my chest, betrayal, the sense that she'd crossed a line. I said something awful. She said something awful back. And then I left. Told her I was done. And I was done. For 25 years. Here's what I lost in those 25 years. I missed her 60th birthday party, her kids' high school graduations, her oldest daughter's wedding, the births of her 3 grandchildren, her husband's funeral when he died of a heart attack 9 years ago. She went through all of that without her sister, and I wasn't there because I was right, and she was wrong. But here's the thing that eats at me. Helen tried. 3 years into the silence, she sent a Christmas card. I threw it away without opening it. 5 years in, she called on my birthday. I didn't answer. Deleted the voicemail without listening. 10 years in, she showed up at my house. I saw her car in the driveway, and I just didn't answer the door. I watched through the window as she sat there for 20 minutes before driving away. 15 years in, she sent a letter, a real letter. I burned it, didn't even read it. Every time she reached out, I had a choice. And every time I chose pride over connection, chose being right over having my sister back. You want to know what keeps me up at night? The thought of her sitting in her car in my driveway, hoping I'd answer the door. The thought of her writing that letter, putting it in the mailbox, wondering if this would be the one that got through to me. She kept trying for years, and I kept saying no. After the funeral, I went through my own things, found all the cards and letters I hadn't thrown away. The ones I'd shoved in a drawer, telling myself I'd deal with them later. There were 14 of them, 14 times over 25 years that Helen said, "I miss you," or "I'm sorry," or "Can we talk?" 14 times I could have said yes. I read them all 2 years too late. And you know what I noticed? The later ones got shorter, more resigned, like she was giving up. The last one, from about 8 years ago, just said, "Still thinking of you, Margaret. Hope you're well. Love, Helen." That was the last time she tried. 8 years before she died, she finally gave up on me. Is that what you want? To be the person someone gives up on? If you're not speaking to someone right now, I want you to ask yourself some hard questions. What are you actually mad about? Can you describe it in detail? Or has it blurred into a general sense of, they wronged me? If they died tomorrow, would you be satisfied with how you left things? Would you feel good about never speaking to them again? What has staying mad cost you? Count it. Actually count it. Family gatherings you didn't attend. Relationships with their kids you don't have. Inside jokes you're not part of. Support you didn't get during hard times because you cut them off. When's the last time being right actually made you happy? Not vindicated, not justified, actually happy? If you can't remember, you're making the same mistake I made. Your sibling, your parent, your old friend, whoever you're not talking to, they're not going to be there forever. I know you think you have time. I thought that too. Helen was younger than me, healthier than me. Non-smoker, vegetarian, did yoga 3 times a week. I figured I'd probably die first. And then she'd feel bad about the fight. And somehow, that made me feel better. Instead, she got cancer and was gone in 4 months. And I never got to tell her I was sorry. Never got to ask about her grandkids. Never got to laugh about Dad's jokes or cry about Mom's meatloaf. Gone. When my niece invited me to Thanksgiving last year, I almost said no, because it felt awkward, because I didn't know these people, because I'd missed 25 years. And how do you just show up and pretend that's not a massive gap? But I went. And you know what? Helen's grandkids look just like she did when we were kids. Her daughter has her laugh. Her son has her way of telling stories that go on way too long, but you don't mind because he's so enthusiastic. I sat at that table surrounded by Helen's family, and I saw what I'd missed. Not just events, people. Whole people I never got to know because I was busy being right. Here's what I understand now that I didn't understand at 53. Being right doesn't keep you warm at night. Being right doesn't call you on your birthday. Being right doesn't remember you're allergic to shellfish. Being right doesn't hold your hand when you're scared. Connection does those things. Forgiveness does those things. Showing up does those things. But pride? Pride just keeps you company while you die alone. Being connected to someone isn't something you preserve through grudges. Being connected is something you choose every day, even when it's hard. It's saying, I'm sorry, even when you were only partly wrong. It's answering the phone even when you're still mad. It's showing up even when it's awkward. It's choosing the relationship over your ego. It's forgiving even when they haven't earned it. Because forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. After Helen died, people kept telling me, at least you were close when you were young. At least you have those memories. But that's not actually comforting, because it just highlights what I threw away. We were close. We were best friends as kids. We told each other everything. We protected each other from our parents' fights. We stayed up late talking about our dreams. And then I let one bad day erase 50 good years. That's not something to be proud of. That's something to be ashamed of. I wasn't a good sister. I was a stubborn sister. I was right. I held my ground. I never backed down. But I wasn't good. Being a good sister means staying in touch even when you're mad. Means working through hard things instead of walking away. Means choosing love over pride. Means being there, showing up, trying. I didn't do those things, and now I live with the regret of knowing I had someone precious, someone who knew me before I became who I am. and I let her slip away over something I can't even remember. If I could go back and talk to my 53-year-old self, here's what I would say. Stop keeping score. Stop waiting for her to apologize first. Stop pretending your pride is more important than your sister. Stop telling yourself you have time to fix this later. Start answering her calls. Start reading her letters. Start showing up even when it's uncomfortable. Start forgiving before she's earned it. And most importantly, start now. Not after she proves she's sorry. Not after you feel ready. Not after enough time has passed. Now, because I promise you, she won't keep trying forever. And when she stops, you'll wish you'd answered just once. I'm 78. If I'm lucky, maybe 10 more years. Maybe 15 if blessed, probably less. And I'm okay with that, because these last 2 years, I've stopped keeping grudges. I've started reaching out. I've started apologizing first, swallowing my pride, choosing connection over being right. I reconnected with my cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. I called an old friend I'd had a falling out with. I showed up at my niece's house and asked if I could be part of their lives, even though I'd been absent for 25 years. Not everyone said yes, but enough people did that. My life is richer now than it was when I was surrounded by people who had wronged me and my precious pride. I'm happier now at 78, making peace with people, than I was at 53 when I was right and alone. That's the irony. When you stop caring about being right, you start actually having relationships. You have a choice. Right now, today. Keep holding on to your anger. Keep waiting for them to apologize first. Keep protecting your pride. Keep tallying up who owes what to whom. Keep telling yourself you have time. Or wake up. Realize that being right is cold comfort when you're alone. That pride doesn't call you on Christmas. That the person you're mad at might not be there next year, next month, next week. I can't make this choice for you, but I can tell you, you don't want to be 78 reading letters someone wrote you that you never answered while they were alive. Don't waste 25 years being right. Learn from my mistake. Call them, text them, show up at their door, apologize even if you weren't wrong. Forgive even if they haven't asked.
The relationship is worth more than your pride. The person is worth more than the argument. Connection is worth more than being right. If this resonates, share this video, leave a comment about who you need to reach out to, subscribe because I have more regrets to share and not much time left to tell them. The clock is ticking. Who are you going to forgive before it's too late?